What's going on, guys? Welcome to another live stream session with Phrankleen. If you're watching this for the first time, thank you for stopping by. Give consideration to liking the video. If you like what I'm about, don't forget to give consideration to hitting the subscribe button, and then selecting the bell button and the all option so you are alerted when I'm online, when I'm streaming, or I have a pre-recorded content. All right. So if you can hear me, you can see me, hit the like button, Let's get the show started. What's going on, peeps? What's up, Lionel? What's up, brother? Another Friday. I hope you had a nice week. So yeah, let's have a conversation, man. I had one of my subscribers basically sent me a bit of a long-winded email. And so I thought, you know what? This is not going to be about me. Let's have an interactive session, okay? I want to bring people in. Let's have a grown-up conversation around this. I'll also share my own views, but I'm going to... Somebody said, look, these topic carry wahala for head. Not really, okay? We shouldn't be afraid to have grown-up conversations, man. What's there to be worried about? So let me post the link. If you can hear me, you can see me, hit the like button. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, man. So let me, right, here we go. What's going on, people? Hit the like button, hit the like button. If you can hear me, you can see me. So let's have a grown-up conversation, man. That's the link. Come into the studio. Let's have a chat. Let's have a chat. So, why this topic is actually, let me just say something very quickly. This topic for me is actually quite multifaceted, all right? So before I crack on, these episodes are sponsored by Adron Homes. Adron Homes and Properties is one of the finest real estate companies based in Nigeria, right? So for a minute, I've been talking about Adron Homes on my live streams and stuff. I have a partnership with them. So for those diasporans who've got a bit of money in their bank account, or you're considering owning lands back home without headache, you're looking to develop properties and all that, buy properties which you can pass on to your your children or the next generation or whatever. So with Adron Homes, you can buy your land outrightly and or put down some money, and you can pay, in installments across 6 months, 12 months, or 24 months. All right. Once you're fully paid for your land, you get the relevant documentations. Now you can buy for investment purposes and just keep your portfolio, or you can just put money in there, buy your land, express interest to build and start building your homes. All right. So all you've got to do, look in the description below, description of this video. You see my email address, foodchannel1960@gmail.com, foodchannel1960. And all you got to do is just send me an email, right? And say, Phrankleen, please send me the application pack for Adron Homes. All right. They've got lands in Lagos, Abuja, Ibadan, Abeokuta, pretty much across Nigeria. Okay. Look at the one you want. I'll be your agent. You're not paying me any money, to be clear. So every transaction, that's the email address on the screen. Every transaction goes into the business account of Adron Homes. All right. It's as easy as blinking your eyes. Just send me an email to foodchannel1960@gmail.com. Ask me for the application pack and I'll bang it across. So that's that. Let's crack on. So, yes. There's somebody in the background already. Good evening, Amoti. What's going on, my person? So, click on the link.
Hello,
Jerry.
Phrankleen. Yeah, it's Jerry again.
What's going on, brother? How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, so the topic is very interesting, and
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of facets to these kind of conversations. So when the question is, why are black men hurt? I don't think, well, from my
you know what? you can already see some comments. Some say, "Oh, it's the other way around." But let me tell you, maybe it's both ways, right? But
Yes.
from the perspective of the person that sent me, this email, they're saying, they believe, black men hurt, when black women
Okay. Well,
date out of their race. So I thought, you know what, man, I'm not this type of, it's a sensitive topic. It's multifaceted.
yeah.
I'm going to say some things, but I think it's better that we have an interactive session like this one so people can
Yeah.
share their views. Let's go, Jerry. What do you think?
So I think for me, I
Speak
don't
up,
think,
please. I can't hear you properly.
yeah, for me, I don't think that's the case, because why should a very well healthy black person, regardless of their race, be angry that somebody who's the same color as mine or the same skin complexion as mine has found love? And likewise, why should we, just because Frankly is of the same origin I am as a Nigerian, why should I get angry if he chooses to marry somebody who's Uganda or somebody who's from the UK or somebody who's white? I think that when people get angry, there are deep-rooted self-esteem issues. There have
You
been
think?
traumas within that person. If they get
Wait,
angry,
wait. There is trauma, but you said there
yeah,
is self-esteem.
there is
Really?
self-esteem. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Go on.
Why? Because the way think about it this way. If you're getting angry that so for example, I'm getting angry that a Nigerian or black lady married a white man, then something has to be wrong with me, within me. I must think that I am deficient in some way, perhaps maybe in social status, or in the way I view myself, for me to be able to say I'm hurt. It's almost like, oh, I'm jilted, you didn't choose me. Now there's the trauma aspect of it. So that's the self-esteem part of it, yeah? So there's the trauma aspect of it, being told you're never good enough, or being outright racism that said blacks are, or if you've experienced racism that where somebody says, oh, because you're black, you're not good. So for people who feel that way, it is very well researched in psychology. For people who feel that way, they have that traumatic, you could class it as traumatic
Wait,
experience.
let me stop you. Let me stop you there. When you
Yeah,
say it is very researched in psychology, who does the research? The white folks on
that
behalf
is
of
that.
black folks.
Well, if you remember what
And they get
I
to
said,
tell us that the way we are reacting is unacceptable.
thank you. So remember what I said from the beginning. I said that is not the way I felt. That is how some people feel. Now, from Jerry's opinion, I don't think well, I certainly do not feel that way, because I feel that, and again, when I look at it, it seems that from the black race, it seems we are the only race talking about this all the time. Other races do talk about it, but I think it's more prevalent, and we need to ask ourselves why.
All right, stop
You
right
know?
there, Jerry. Hold on. I'll tell you now. Let's unpack it. I agree with your point of view, but let's unpack
Yeah,
it. You see, let's not lay out this conversation like, oh, why black folks feeling this way. First of all, I agree, like what you said earlier. I agree with what do you call people are allowed, with regards to their free will, to find love in whatever direction they want to find love. So that means if you're a black man, you wake up tomorrow morning, you decide to date a white woman, that's your personal choice. And
yeah,
you shouldn't be castigated for that. If you're a black woman, for reasons best known to you,
yeah,
and you decide to find love with a white man, kudos to you. You understand me?
yeah,
I don't think
yeah,
anyone should be torn to shreds, but I'm trying to
yeah,
unpack it. And
mhm,
the thing is, in the global order of things, the pyramid,
yeah,
it's actually created by white folks, the elitists at the top of the
yes,
global affairs.
mhm,
The black race is at the bottom end of the spectrum, and that's
Yeah.
intentional. It's been that way since
Mm-hmm.
time immemorial. So I'm going somewhere with this. So
Yeah.
because it's nice that we unpack it and then we look at this critically.
Yeah.
So they've created that pyramid. At the bottom of the pyramid, right, is the black race. In fact, interestingly, humans, all sorts of, maybe you're Chinese, you're white, and all that.
Yeah.
The black race were the prime beings. Life started from Africa. That's a fact.
Yeah.
Okay. The forefathers of the white folks and all that, they gravitated towards the cold climate, hence the skin color, right? So that's
Yeah.
that. But structurally, as they've done it, which is intentional, it's a control mechanism. So the black race is forced to the bottom end of the spectrum. So what you find, particularly in the West, what you find is that's why, for the most part, when people are desperate in our community, they are desperate for
Yeah.
career or social climb, you realize it's very common if you see most of our black superstars, movie stars, and all that.
They marry a white woman. Yeah.
They marry a white person to move up in ranks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because it's like it's the order of things that's been put in place. Do you understand me? It's like it's put to them that you cannot do well. So, unless you play by the rules. Now, it's not you. Some can argue that it's not the case for every black couple. We can still say, there is Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith. Even at that, there is the Jay-Z and the Beyonce, right? But even at that, I'll still say there's a price to pay. Now, moving along from that, I'm talking about the global structure. At the pinnacle of affairs, you have the tiny 1 or 2% who is the bloodline of the white folks that run the affairs. That's why, for example, look at a place like in the UK. They will tell you that, London is highly multicultural, right? It's one of the biggest lies. Because London, for example, yes, I always say to people, on the ground level, where it appears to be jam-packed, right? They can pull out that made-up data and say, London is highly tolerant, it's highly multicultural. If you go into the London Underground, the train tracks or train lines, you find all races. There's a Nigerian man with his heavy Nigerian accent, telling you that the Northern Line is currently not working. You can get to the next station, you can find a Jamaican brother doing the announcement. But here is a trick, though. When you start to move up in ranks, moving up the managerial roles and who is managing what, it gets whiter as you go up.
It's no black there, no black at all.
So it's a make-believe. It's a bit of a scam, if I can call it that way. It's an illusion. It's an illusion of inclusion. So the whole idea of multiculturalism and all that, it's actually a misrepresentation to make you feel that way. Now, back to what I said earlier. The black race, look at here in the UK, for example, and I'm being honest, is poorly represented. There's a blatant disregard for black lives. There is discrimination. In fact, the way the structure is here in the UK, they don't want you to talk about racism, even if racism is blatantly being fed to you, or you're being victimized, or you're faced with glass ceilings and whatnot. Even our black women, if I may digress, there is the constant labeling. If you have a confident black woman who says, I don't know, the way I'm being this, they're labeled as being thuggish. They're labeled as being loud-mouthed. They're labeled as being aggressive.
Difficult to walk with.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's the same way in the workplaces, whereby our black women are subjected to, we don't like your hairdo, your afro is too much, you've got to straighten your hair to be accepted. So when you look at the template of existence, particularly in the West, there is a template that's been imposed, right? Whereby it's the white folks, the elitist, the system tolerates you, does not accommodate and shows respect for your culture, your background, and say, you know, that person has this type of hair, that's who they are, respect them for who they are. The black community is severely deprived.
It's
Severely
because
deprived.
it's because the tools of the master would never bring the master's house down. So why wouldn't there be a lot of, on the surface, multicultural diversity? It's because they want you to believe in that system.
Sorry. Give me what, let me just, sorry to cut you out because I want you to talk. But
Yeah.
what I'm trying to finalize on is, so the reason I've had to kind of go in that direction to sort of unpack it a bit is so that we can see the root cause of the resentment. So
Yeah.
I just sat here saying, like I said earlier, that if a black woman wakes up tomorrow morning, you know, and they decide to date a white man, they decide to date a white man, right? That's their choice. Do you understand?
Yeah.
If a black man decides, that's their choice. Do you understand me? Now,
Yeah.
but if I'm sat here, if you ask me personally, given the unfair Western representation of black folks and the constant 24/7 generational oppression,
Yeah.
I would say you're better off with your own race. That doesn't mean I would tell someone, I've been to, over the years in England, I've been to interracial, a couple of interracial marriages, right? But I would say, like, for example, I am happily married to a black woman like me. There is nothing wrong with that. Let's say even at this point in my life, I'm single and I'm actually considering, I would never date a white person because it's not my preference. And also, I love my black women. I can't speak for the next brother, and I'm not going to use my personal preference and weaponize it against the next black brother or a friend of mine that chooses to marry a Chinese woman or whatever, right? But what I'm saying is, if I were to start dating now and I wanted to pick a partner and stuff, I would, my first choice, my second, my third, my fourth, my fifth choice, sixth, seventh, eighth, if I can go down the list, right, will be a black woman. Now it could be, a Nigerian woman, or, I met a Kenyan woman that I'd love to, date. That's a Ghanaian sister. We're all the same anyway. There's a sister from Uganda that there might be the slight cultural differences, but that's still a black woman. Do you understand? I can't personally, given my deeply rooted understanding of racism and the obvious generational, extensive discrimination that's been inflicted on my ancestors and generation of black folks, is still happening till date. For those reasons, personally, if I was to pick, that's not that I have internalized hatred for all white folks. Do you understand me? Or for white folks. No. I cannot date outside of my race. I can't, because I believe that I do myself a disservice. The thing is, okay, check this out. I don't know, because I'm not married to a white woman, but check this out, yeah? If I'm a victim of racism in the hands of white folks, or being violated, how do you begin to have that conversation at home?
Well, it's now I see where you're coming from, and that's a very important topic to unpick. It depends on where there is a lot of facets to unpick here. So just to start from the top, I'm going to come back to answer that question.
Yes, sir.
To start from the top, I said something. I said the tool of the masters will never bring the master's house down. The reason why you've got
I agree.
The reason why you've got that on the surface inclusion is because, like you say, they want you to believe in that process, but you're never going to get it up, because they also make you feel you're not, number one, elite enough to be in that club. So that's why in the NHS, for example, we've got people who are doing entry-level to mid-level job. They tell you worthy enough. Because of your diversity, we appreciate you. But I tell you now, if you dare venture into management, you will, without being told you're not part of the club, they will tell you you're not on our class there, because it is designed that way. Now, the issue of what now, I'm going to give you a nuanced opinion on the topic itself. Why are Black men hurt? Like I said, I'm not hurt, and I'll give you an example why I'm not hurt. The reason why I'm not hurt, if somebody marries a person of another race, meaning if a Black person marries another race, the reason why I'm not hurt is because I would hope that they use that as an opportunity to spread their culture across. Ask yourself, just a bit of digression. Ask yourself, frankly, or everybody here, why is the Indian cuisine more popular across the world? They don't just sell to the Indian race alone. They make sure they pass that culture, that cuisine, they make sure they showcase it across. They make sure that it is well marketed across through friendship, through interaction socially, through communication. So if we are in that situation, again, I'm taking a multifaceted approach here. The question the question we should be asking ourselves at the moment, as Nigerian or as Africans, what are we doing to move the African cause? It's okay for me to say, I'm not going to be with a white person. That's fine. I don't want to be with a white person. But what am I doing to move the African cause forward? Are you doing that through showcasing your African culture? How many of you go to your white friends and show them the Nigerian food?
Oh, Nigerian food is quite popular in the UK, and white folks eat it.
It's quite popular in the UK. I know that. But how many African restaurants do we have across the UK apart from London and Manchester?
Well,
that's what I'm saying. All over the country. I live in Cheshire. I mean, you can't really get any more, apart from London, you can't really get any more posh, I should say, in Cheshire. But you've got Indian shop everywhere. Everywhere. Now, that is what I'm talking about. How are we as a race, as a Black, how are we trying to move our cause further through marriage?
Hold on, Jerry. Stay right there. Don't go anywhere, please. Let me bring on Lionel. Just stay right there, please. You're going to carry in a moment. Lionel is in the background. I need to say something. What's up, Lionel?
Hey, can you hear me clearly?
I can hear you loud and clear, brother.
I have a few disagreements and a few point of views.
Go on.
Life in America and life in the UK is pretty similar, and I want to look at this in a more of a psychological point of view.
Right.
A lot of times, to be honest, a lot of times women choose other men of different races, not particularly Black women to another race, but any race of women to opposite race, based off perception. And a lot of women may choose, case in point, that we talk about Black women, they may choose a white man because of the perception that they'll have a better life, or they have a better life. Their life would be better off because this white man or Asian man in Western society can offer her a better opportunities than this Black male, because of the realities in this Western society that Black men and a lot of I'll say Black men do not occupy these high positions in these corporations or large businesses. So their perception, a lot of Black women, and I've heard and read Black women write anonymous blog posts that said that they've chosen this non-Black man because of that. And now they have to deal with the trauma of that male disrespecting them because of that decision that they made. Also, I disagree with Jerry when he say we're the only race that think this way. We're not. You can go on YouTube now and you can look up videos of other men of other races that actually talk about or comment and comment under videos specifically about other men dating their women. Case in point is these two white men. They live in China. I want to say it's ADV China, and they made a video about how Asian men are saying that they're taking their women. Well, Chinese men saying they're taking their women. We're not the only race that talk about this. This is a common topic throughout all races and all cultures and all nationalities. Also, when any person, in particular Black / African, date outside their own race, you have to think, what are the outcomes? It's that person's choice, but the outcomes of that choice. And to give an example, what I mean is now you have to ask, if that happens enough, who is Igbo? Who is Yoruba? What is a Nigerian? What is a South African? What is a Zimbabwean?
Lionel, sorry
Yes,
to interrupt you. Look at these comment that I've pinged on the screen. It says, Black women who prefer white men chance at better life. Black men who prefer non-Black women chance at more peaceful relationship. That's crazy. What do you think? Is that true?
There's some validity to that. So, of course, it's not 100% across the board, but it happens enough for it to be noticeable. And what he's saying, the first part is the perception part that I spoke about. And actually not just Black men, but a lot of men of different races are complaining that women across the board. Now, when I say women across the board, well, when I say women, that does not mean specific women. Yes, you're going to have women that says, well, I'm still feminine, but I'm talking about women across the board are now less feminine nowadays. And with that less femininity comes less peacefulness, more aggressiveness. And now you do have a lot of men. It's all over YouTube. All over people can look at YouTube as the public public temperature, that now you have less femininity, and I'm choosing these women because I perceive them to be more peaceful. I perceive them to be more feminine. Their perception plays a major role. So now with my other point, if yes, it's a person's choice, but the outcomes of that choice, now you have to ask, okay, who's Chinese? What's a Chinese? What's a Mongolian? What is a Yoruba person? What does these people look like? If you say, okay, you have the choice to do whatever, but the outcomes of that choice will murk waters in terms of, oh, I want to stay this, I want to stay that. And one last thing, I see you adding more people. I think that men and even women of Black African ethnicity gets not angry, but feel some type of way when they see another person that date out. It's not that they have a deep-seated or deep-rooted low self-esteem of themselves. I think that it's a fear of erosion of who they are, self-preservation, preserving the Black race, preserving who they are as a person. And now they see these other people that are actively eroding that. I think it's more of that than being a low self-esteem or deep-rooted or deep-seated
All right.
this or that.
Thanks, Lionel. Let me hear someone else. Thank you, bro. Is it Diago? Are you there? Diago?
Yeah. Good evening, Franklin. How are you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm all right, thanks.
Yeah, yeah. I want to speak about this. I want to speak about why I'm against the interracial marriage. You need to understand, as far as wealth building, especially for African people, it doesn't benefit to
Can
marry
you
interracial.
please speak up a bit? You sound really low. I'm not sure if
Now, I'm saying I'm against interracial marriage because, as far as African people, it's not beneficial to do such. Even amongst the wealthy white people, they know that it's not beneficial to be mixing with other people because it's not a good way to pass down generational wealth to mix, you know. So I'm against interracial marriage. I don't see it as a good thing in the long run.
right. Thank you, man. Let's bring in is it Ella Anthony?
Hi,
Hello.
Phrankleen. Good
Hi,
evening.
hi, good evening.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to speak from a woman's perspective as well, an African woman, Nigerian woman perspective. Why I
Yeah.
think women go for interracial marriages or outside of Nigeria to white, preferably. One is to avoid drama. You see, a typical in this present generation, we believe that what most women tolerated, maybe our mothers, that we don't want it. Speaking to most women and stories, the one I've seen, the ones I've heard, is exactly that. They want security, they want respect. Someone will tell you,
Wow.
I don't want to serve anybody. I don't want to go to work, come back and serve anybody. I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back to how I
So
saw my mom.
wait. So are you sharing
Yeah.
this as a personal view? Because that's a very dangerous outlook. I know what you're saying, but you're saying, you see, that statement alone, that the idea that, oh, I am going to marry into another race. I was going to go into that. And that's where Black people keep shooting themselves in the foot. The idea of, I will marry a white man for, and to have a better quality of life. What do you think you're doing to your own race? We are the only race of people that do that. It's that self-sabotaging. You see, I said it earlier and I say it respectfully, even though it's not my personal preference. You can marry anybody you want. You can make your own choice. You have the free will. But the idea of a white man is a trophy husband or a white woman is absolutely wrong. I think Black folks that marry into other races with that mindset, they have a problem. Because even in that relationship, you will be worshiping that person that you see as a supreme being. The inferiority complex is deeply rooted. It's absolutely mind-blowing. You see, I listened to what you just said, and it's exactly, because a lot of these, there are even brothers, even the same thing with dudes. There's some brothers that when they get with a white woman, the problem is not that you're dating the white woman. It's like it's some kind of achievement that you want to rub in the face of your own kind. It's totally wrong. But go on.
Yeah, what I'm saying, many people might not like it, but that's the reality. You see, where we are as women, I'm sorry to say it, where we are as women and where most men are, it's not the same. It's like we are in lane B and most people or most men are in lane A. So when you come to that juncture as a woman and then you look around and you realize that going to lane B will be headache for you, you simply move ahead to lane Z, and that is a white man. You take a long leap from A, you skip B, C, D, and then you go to Z because you think Z is going to give you what you want. Z is going to give you peace of mind. Z is going to bring you breakfast in bed. Z is going to give you his credit card. Z is going to hold you from the back.
Wait,
Z is
so-
going to make you.
So wait, there is no black man that can bring their wife's breakfast in bed. There is no.
Unfortunately, that is exactly the way we see them. You know, everything is in the media. That's what we see in the media. That's what we see when we go to the workplace. That's exactly what we see. We see it in the cinema. We see it on Netflix. We see it on Amazon Prime. We see it even on the littlest movie. We see it everywhere. In our head, we see them as romantic.
So you're saying, okay, I kind of see where you're coming from. You're saying that the media has sort of damaged minds of our people. Is that what you're getting at?
Of course, a typical black person gets easily carried away with what they see and what we hear. So when we see that, we imagine. You see, growing up, we romanticize about a lot of things. We in our little mind we fantasize about this and that, but then growing up in maybe a toxic home, you don't see that. But then when you look at the television, you see a different thing from your reality. And then growing up, you start having these fantasies of somebody that's going to do that exactly to you. Your father doesn't do it. Your uncle doesn't do it, maybe. And then you look around, nobody does it. But then you look at the television, a white man does it. And then that's how it starts. You start romanticizing in your head that this person is the only person that can do that for you.
Phrankleen, that was the perception I was speaking about.
Right.
The perception of
Sorry, hold on, Ellen. Go on, Lionel.
Yeah, that's the perception I was speaking about earlier. That this white man will give me a better life, a better opportunities. That's their perception, and even though that perception is not correct, they're getting that perception somewhere, be it in everyday life through the visual representation of these men. That I think women may think this group of men over here is far better for me than this group of men over here, even though that's not reality. I'm sure you can find umpteen women out here that says, oh, I thought this was a better choice for me. But the reality dictates that's not necessarily true. Men are men. So just because that man is white does not mean that man is inherently better than the other men out here in the world. And also, I would like to say, if black women don't want to date black men, why is the choice almost always white men? Why isn't the choice a Indian man or Australian man? I'm not talking about white Australia. I'm talking about Aboriginal Australia. Why isn't the choice a Sri Lankan or a Mexican man? The choice is almost always a white man because of that heavy perception.
Hi, Phrankleen. Hi, panel.
Hi.
Hi. Can I just counteract, respectfully counteract some of the things that the brother said? For one, I think black men will be hurt if they see black women dating out. But I know in the UK and the US, it's actually black men that are more likely to marry and procreate outside. Yeah, it's a lot more higher with black men than black women. And what's happening, and it's more publicized and more socially acceptable to see a black man. How many entertainers do we see? A black man with a white woman. We see many of them. Yeah, but now it's becoming more socially acceptable for black women to date out. You've seen it more, like Serena Williams, that type of thing. So I think if black men are collectively. If they're not happy to see black women date out, then they have to ask themselves, were you loyal to black women? And many black men weren't. Many black men have a habit of being with a white woman and having children. I think I'm a somebody now, I've got a white woman. And then next minute they're gonna run back to a black woman when the little rainbow, United Nation family don't work out. Yeah. So, if you want loyalty, you've got to show loyalty. Yeah. Now
So
another
you're
thing
saying,
I'd like to say,
so you're saying, black women, sort of in a form of a retaliatory action, are also,
Phrankleen,
marrying.
because if you look at statistically, it's black men that actually date out and marry more. Yeah. Another thing is black men are being put in prison. Many of them are dead. So the pool is getting even smaller. You got the ones that are dating out, then you got the ones that are locked up in prison, and then you got the ones that are in a body bag. Now, unless you've got to be really committed to black love, because we're not in United States of America and the UK, they're not black countries. So if you as a black woman really want a black man, you might have to go beyond the call of duty. You might be having to call people in the Caribbean or Africa to ship like you a husband if you really want that, black love, because the numbers are not there.
May I do a little rebuttal?
Thank you, Betty. Sorry, hold on, Lionel. Hold on. I want I want to bring just someone else in. Crown Media, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, please. Go on.
Yes. Going back to speakers about the women talking about what's been seen in media with black love and white and interracial marriages. I just turned 40 earlier this year, and I can remember far back as 8 years old, I had it in my mind like that's what I wanted. I wanted to be married to a white man. Why? Because though I was in Nigeria, I saw my mom being, violated by my dad all the time. It was kind of like culture. And it seemed like all the men around me growing up were doing the same thing. My uncle, my dad's friends, there were so many men. I mean, I'm thinking back now, even though I lived a sheltered life, born with a silver spoon and all, but I still had all these men around me that were kind of, violating their wives and not treating them right. But then you're watching TV and you're watching movies and you're seeing this white men treat their women so nice, so affectionate to their wives. And you're wondering.
Yeah, I get it. Sorry, forgive me. But that when you say movie, when you say all this, I get it. That's the power of the media. That's scripted. So what I'm trying to put there is, I get what you're saying, like about as a child, what you're seeing, domestic violence and all that. But at the same time, we have exactly the same thing happening in all communities.
Exactly.
Violent white men, pedophiles, rapists, also murderers.
Very correct. So where my perspective changed on that.
Go on.
Yeah, where my perspective changed on that was when I turned 18 and I came back to the US. And now I'm living in a community where there's Hispanics, they're whites, they're Asians, they're all different cultures. And you're kind of seeing like what you're seeing in the media is only a portion of what's actually happening. That is really not reality. Like what you're seeing happening in Nigeria, there's still men, white men, Asian men, all these men still doing the same thing to their wives. So it comes to a matter of you personally taking stock of, okay, what do you really want to do? Now I'm 18 and I'm seeing all of this. In all of it, I still entertain dating 2 white men. And the dating, I can tell you, like going out on a date, it was nothing serious, but I kind of knew for me, like, oh no, this is not the way. Like this is not going to work for me. I need my Nigerian Yoruba guy. But then my option will be my thought process was, well, I'd rather remain single than be in a relationship with a man that will brutalize me like my mom was. So it became, well, God, just bring this man, that will be in my life that will not, handle me the way that all these other African men I have seen handle their women. It just becomes, okay, this is really not what is happening to everybody. So you cannot just put everybody in a box and assume that because it's happened to you, it's all the men. I've been married to my husband now for 17 years. He's never, ever laid his hands on me before, ever. It doesn't mean we don't have our issues when we're communicating, but there's never been issues like that before. So I see it now. I have younger boys. my youngest one is 16 years old, and I see this, he's mixing, he plays football, he's mixing with white girls and black girls, and I see them, and I see the way they look at each other, the way the girls address the guys, like the young ladies who are African Americans. Most of them that I've seen, they're rough, like they're not really girly, but then you're seeing this Caucasian girls, they're really like calm. I mean, I want my boys to marry a Nigerian girl, a girl that can speak Yoruba, because I'm teaching them that. But then when you're seeing this, sometimes you can feel like, oh, it's easy for them to get attracted to these girls. Because now our black girls are being raised to be tough, like the boys. So now you're seeing a guy that really wants a girl that is feminine, but then the lady is a little bit on the masculine side. So even though you're talking about levels and all this
she's throwing those hands like boom,
yeah.
boom.
So, and now when we're talking about the corporate America and all, the field I'm in IT. I see black, I see whites, in my field. I don't get I think that's kind of maybe way back. I don't think it applies now, because depending on the level that you're in, you will not be intimidated by seeing people like that. Seeing people of different races, or depending on what field you're in. So I don't see that, because I'm looking at it from my perspective and from my children's perspective. And I'm seeing the girls of the different races, and I can see how tough that they are compared to our black girls.
Right.
So I don't know. The only thing I can think about right now is I don't want to. Before, I would say I want my boys to be married to a Yoruba, like specific, not just Nigerian, but Yoruba that can speak Yoruba. But now I'm like, God, just give them someone that will make them happy, that the both of them will be happy. Because at this point, you don't even know what it is anymore. I don't want to. I would not say that I don't want to lose my boy.
Can I say something?
Sure.
I agree with what you're saying, because if I look as a dude within our community, as a man, just as a man here, I'm not even looking at the next, woman or anything. I can, as a grown man, I might be out in the shops or somewhere. I see some dudes, young black boys, just be aggressive for nothing in a post office queue. You're trying to send a letter or buy stamps. They just be aggressive for somebody stepping on their sneakers in the post office queue. Like, what could possibly go wrong in the post office? Now, the point I'm trying to make is, in every community, right, you've got people with bad, behavioral problems and all that stuff. But I don't, I get what you're saying about some of those girls, and I've seen it. I'm not going to lie. Within our communities, you see some of these girls, like even you might be sat in a McDonald's and they are actually laughing or having a bit of back and forth about a topic, and you're actually jumping on the seat thinking there's a fight going on. And then you think the energy is just crazy. You see, they even act like dudes more than actual dudes, right? Any little thing they're throwing in their hands, the wigs come off. So I get it. From a parental point of view, you might be like, God damn, do I want my sons to, get with that? But I want us to be very careful, because this is the media and the societal conditioning that black is not good enough. Like, everything about the black community is thuggish, is this. And this is exactly where the brainwash starts with our children in the schooling system. And it goes like that. Like you say, the media is the number one damage weapon. It's very big, it's very strong, it's global. Even if you go to Nigeria today, I'm telling you, man, I was in Nigeria recently for like 3 months plus, and I'm flipping through the channels, man. Virtually all the channels are westernized. There are people who have never stepped on a plane in Nigeria, never been to the UK or the US. They're trying so hard to sound American, and it drives me nuts. So the power of the media, like you say, but like I said earlier, one of the fundamental problems that we have in our society when it comes to maybe black men or women dating outside of the race, especially when they date white folks, is these mindsets of, oh, there you go, like I've won a trophy. That to me is heightened display of inferiority complex. And I know for a fact that within the confines of that relationship, right, you are the inferior one. It's different from me. I'm a black woman in a relationship, regardless of our differences, we'll make it work. But the idea of black men weaponizing or sticking their white partner in the face of the black sisters and vice versa, that in itself, because we can see it. It's like an achievement. I hear things like, oh yeah, because he's got better credit. Oh, because he's going to do this. That's the thing. Because I was talking about the societal pyramid. It's a global pyramid created by the elitist white folks. At the bottom end of the spectrum is the black race. It's intentional. And this is how we get brainwashed. So we are the only ones that can change our mindset. Like I said, my preference, black women all day, every day. There are some brothers, even, I digress, like even within the black community, there was this nonsense that's been happening for donkey years where the idea of, because a black sister is light-skinned and our other black sister who is more melanated of a darker shade, they'll be treated as being an outcast. All of these things is like they've been drip-fed right from the top. From all these, it's the colonialism and all these things, looking at yourself as not being good enough. A sister that's truly dark-skinned is seen as an outcast, even within certain black families. If they have sisters or a sibling who is,
but Phrankleen can also say that also, like, going on that colorism thing, this is one of the things. I think black men want black women, they want more out of black women that they're prepared to give. Because many of that colorism things, like someone like Stormzy, you know, when his mixed race girlfriend was mocking dark-skinned black women, but you find many dark-skinned black men like that who are the ones giving out the abuse to black women that are very dark, and they just no, but they're allowed to be abusive, and nobody calls them out on it. But another thing is, I've noticed that there are black men that will have children with white women, and then I know I've had black men that have had come to me and wanted to date me, and they've got children with white women, and I'm like, no, I don't want the white woman's leftovers. And this is what I find. I don't want the white ones with leftovers, because I'm not going to be stepmother to any mixed race children, and I'm not prepared to have a white woman come into my house. Yeah, I'm fighting white supremacy. You can't come into my yard. I'm the queen in my yard. Yeah, I put up with the racism when I step outside my house, but I'm certainly not going to entertain that bullshit in my house. Yeah, but I find that many black men don't get that. They seem to think that they can go back and forth to a black woman, to a white woman, and they never ask themselves whether a black woman wants that, whether she's prepared to entertain you having a child with the oppressor, and then you want to come and bring this shit into their lives. But they've got the most to say. Many of those black men have got the most to say about black women when they go and date out, but they're allowed to do it. That's another thing that I don't like.
All right, so, thank you. Let me bring on someone else. Who is that? Jerry? Is that Jerry?
Yeah.
Just give me a second, Jerry. Just 1 second.
Right,
1 second.
Okay.
1 second. Stay right there, bro. Black Sit. Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Loud and
clear. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Good to see you, Phrankleen. Good to see you. I just wanted to add just a couple of pence, because I've been listening, and I'm due to go to a birthday party, but I just wanted to contribute to this debate because it really hit some really key points for me, particularly being brought up in the UK as a young black woman. And even though your parents tell you you're beautiful, your family tell you you're beautiful, everyone tells you you're beautiful, you know, you're overlooked by, you know, black boys. And you're wondering, you know, what are they seeing? You know, why are they bypassing this black woman to go to this, I'm sorry to say, but mediocre, you know, pale foot, whose hair feels like a gerbil, could never understand it, you know? And for me, I'm not like fitting a stereotype. This is how I actually felt. And it was really heartbreaking, I think, as a youngster growing up, facing that rejection as a black woman. And now it's even worse than it ever was before, because, you know, black women are being left out Black women are being left on the shelf. And no, going with a white man is not the answer. Let me just tell you this. When I was working in Essex, I did a study, and actually one of the areas most prolific for domestic violence was actually in Barking and Dagenham, and most of the domestic violence was actually afflicted within the white community. So this whole preconcept of Black people being more violent is complete and utter crap. That's the first thing. Secondly, the stereotype about the Black woman, especially stereotype about Black women being aggressive and what have you, and white women being all, serene and gentle.
Yeah.
Absolute crap. Absolute crap. I can say, I went to university, I went to college, I didn't see it. I saw different types of white people. I saw the same kind of butch white girls that wanted to go and play rugby. Yeah? But no one ever talks about them. The same kind of butch white girls that want to go and do, anything to do with mechanics or construction. But no one ever talks about them. Yeah, they're always talking about Black women as though Black women have got to have an attitude problem, but white women never do, and they're seen as gentle and quiet and feminine. Absolute poppycock. Load of tosh. Right? And when you look at the women that are the most dykes in the world, what colour are they? Actually, let's talk to facts. They certainly aren't Black. I live in Africa. Here on the continent, I see more femininity. I see more women with their babies on their back, connected with their children. That is the sign of femininity. That is a sign of the woman. That is the woman that is in touch with her spirit and her soul and her husband. Here you see the role of the woman completely different to you see the role of the Western woman. So we need to redefine. Are we African women or are we Western women? As African women, we are feminine, sexy, intelligent, and fine.
Oh, yeah.
And we are just as vulnerable as any other woman. We are just as gentle as any other woman. We are just as good as mother as any other woman. And you know what? I remember growing up, right? When one of my family friends got married to this Irishman, and this Irishman ended up cutting her throat. Yeah. And so I saw the violence. I saw when their football match didn't win. I was raised in Essex among the white community. So maybe my view of the white community and their super violence is different because, there were only 3 Black girls in my whole schooling in Essex. So I saw the white community at close encounters, and I don't know what anyone's saying. They're more gentle, less violent. They're the most, I'm sorry to say, the most violent, most wicked, most evil people that I've ever had the chance to encounter on the face of the planet. And if slavery is not their past record, then tell me what is. If Hiroshima is not their past record, then you tell me what is. Murdering their own people during World War II, right? During the Third Reich. Tell me what is, right? We have to stop doing this, putting them on a pedestal and putting ourselves down. We are the supreme beings of the earth. We are the supreme women. We are the goddesses, and the men is our gods, right? And we have to learn to appreciate one another, work with one another. Women are under, especially Black women, are under supreme pressure right now, because of the world and the way it is. And we need our Black men to stand up for us. Because when Black men go out with white women, they change. They become turncoats. They want to reject their community, reject their family, reject their culture, and reject who they are. And that is what is happening. Juliet? And so the Black woman is being left vulnerable.
Can you hear me, Juliet? Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So somebody said something earlier about, of course, I can understand, if Black women are looking at Black men, sort of like what you said, sidestepping them and, going for white women and all that, and they feel abandoned and all that. But what's the point of carrying out a retaliatory action against Black men and saying, oh, because they're going for white women, oh, I'm going to carry on. I'm going to go that way as well and, date white men as well and all that. There's this back and forth.
Okay, I don't know if it's retaliatory. I don't think it's retaliatory. I think it's because people want to procreate. They want children. Yeah, and remember, we already have this mindset of if we go and we sleep with someone outside our race, we're going to have more beautiful babies. It's a terrible stereotype, but we have this kind of, you know, colorism, and we have these kind of self-hatred, that we carry. And so that is part of it. Also, if black men are rejecting you and you want a man and a white man is chasing you down, it's not so much as retaliation as, okay, well, someone's better than nothing. And, you know, this is not the right attitude to have. You know, I remember going to a Anita Baker concert, and she said, you know, to all my sisters out there, just remember that there's still good men, good black men out there. And when she said it, it really hung in my mind. And I think because black men get a beating. They get a beating because they're always being perceived in the media as criminals. Black men get a beating and never seen as good fathers. Black men, you know, the perception of black man is always as a bad man. And then the white woman that's going for the black man is always going for the bad man, you know, going for the gangster, going for, you know, they're not showing the doctors, the scientists. They're not showing, you know, the operations managers. They're not showing, you know, the man who may even work for environmental
Can I also
service.
say, there's also these things where there's one of the things that pisses me off. There's this stereotype that, you know, that emanated from within the white community, whereby white men are only basically reduced to their sexual prowess or the size of their genitalia. And it's like, in fact, there is evidences of, you know, like maybe young white girls, when they start to grow of right age to start dating, there's this fantasy of they want to get with a black man because of the nonsense that's being passed around that, oh, they've got massive, you know, genitals and all that. Oh, I want to have a taste of that. Now, they use black men as sexual instruments. Sexual gratification. And then when they are done and dusted, they can bin you. And even after sucking the gratification out of you and being satisfied, if you piss them off just in a conversation, they can put their hand up and lie that you've raped them. And the system in the West is not forgiving of black men. Before you know, your life can absolutely go down the drain. That's one of the things that pisses me off, that every time, you know, a white girl and this, you hear all this stuff, it's like they don't look at you, oh, that's a black guy who's a programmer, or that's a black guy who was trained for about a decade to become a medical doctor or an accountant. It's about, oh, he must have a third leg, you know, the size of his arm and stuff, and what can I get from him in the bedroom department? That's what they reduce us to. Even when you meet them in the nightclubs or whatever, it's always about, oh, the mandingo is going to come out of their mouth.
Sex slavery.
Black man.
It's sex slavery. It's sex slavery. And the thing is, it is sex slavery. And not only that, you know, what upsets me is that the black man will go and bring his income to the white woman, okay? He will live in her house. He's not on the mortgage. His name is not on the deed. Yeah. He will be with this woman for how many years? He'll have nothing to pass down. No legacy. And I've seen it time and time and time and time again. I've even seen it with my own eyes where they have taken the legacy, and that legacy ended up being handed down to a white woman. And this is what we're not thinking about. How are we supposed to protect our legacy and our economy? Because the first thing that we do is go and give it away to the white community, and we've forgotten who oppressed us, who colonized us, who suppresses us, and who are right now using bio warfare to try and kill us out. Yeah, the problem is that we have amnesia, right? We have amnesia. We have short-term memories because we go into the office and we say hi and we think that they're our friends. Because they lay down with us doesn't mean that they're not still thinking behind, you know, in the back of their mind what they're thinking about you. Some men are only getting because they know that they can have issues with the sun and they just want some melanin. So then women better mind, because they are literally being organ donors. They are being live organ donors for their melanin. Yeah, so they can continue their family lineage. And don't think it's just not happening. Because right now, melanin is more expensive than gold. Yeah? Melanin is more expensive per ounce than gold. And they're taking it in injections. Right? Why? Because of the sun. So let's not be silly about this. At the end of the day, John Henry Clark said, you know, we have no friends. And we need to be be mindful of that. People can tell and they said, oh, Juliet, you're prejudiced, because I could never be racist. We're not in a position to be racist because we have no economical power. We do not control any educational system. We do not control any governance. We do not control any political system, any monetary system, any banks. We control nothing. And I'm not saying that we're powerless. What I am saying is that we are not powerful enough to run our own systems, to run our own continents, right? And so we must always just, be black first. And that includes your choice of partner. So for all those black women that are out there with white men, let me tell you that white man is 4 times likely to beat your ass than a black man. How's that?
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So Phrankleen, we love you.
Let me bring in someone else. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Fantastic. Yeah, natural beauty. I think you wanted to say something. Hi.
Hey. I'm just gonna try to make this as quick as possible. I have 3 main points that I'd like to make, and I'm going based off the perception of a woman.
Go on.
Okay, so it kind of goes off of what Black said and Betty said earlier. I feel like first and foremost, change is the #1 reason why a lot of Black women are dating outside of their ethnicity. If you look at our generation today, we're more susceptible to change. We're more accepting of a whole bunch of different things than, say, our mothers were. Like, I remember people like my mother's generation would never even think of a white man, but people within mine now are actually more accepting of change in that area. Secondly, I want to speak on the degradation of a lot of Black women. Like, personally, I remember seeing in the news where an NFL player who's with a white woman is saying, oh, all Black women are dogs, and personally are bulldogs. And personally, I remember I was at a protest where we were protesting for, Black Lives Matters. I think after what was the one that happened just recently? And all the Black boys that were there were screaming, oh, I don't want these bulldogs out in the street protesting for me. I want the pretty girls to protest for me. I don't want these ugly little Black girls protesting for me. So when you grow up hearing things like that, it's like the Black man never accepts you. It's like, personally, I grew up in an area with a lot of Latinos, and I was more accepted by the Latinos than I was by the Black boys. So when there's a constant degradation of the Black woman, it's like, okay, you're degrading me, but here's another ethnicity over here that's practically worshiping me. Now, I'm not saying like it's like the white race that's doing that. Mostly it's the Latinos, but it's mostly if another ethnicity is here to worship you and you're degrading me, which way do you think I'm going to go to?
Yeah, preach. It's very true.
And
no, hold on.
Another point I would like to
let her finish, please. Just hold on.
Okay, another point I would like to is how much pressure or how much I don't know how to say it, is put on the Black woman. Like, personally, I'm in university, so we have group discussions, and you'll see the Black boys who want to get into a relationship asking Black girls, "Oh, what are you bringing to the table?" But they never one day ask their white girl, "What are you bringing to the table?" And this Black girl can say, "Oh, I can cook, I can clean, I'm bringing my college degree," and it still won't be enough. They'll still go for the white girl. So when you're given that perception on life, and here comes, William out of the blue, and he's like, "Hey, girl, I like you for you. I love you for you. I love everything about you. Anything you bring, I'll take it." I'm more likely to go to another ethnicity, not just, the white.
Wait. Okay, let me ask you. So, do you have a problem with a Black guy asking you, what do you bring to the table? I think that's a fair question. A woman can ask that question too. So are you saying that even if they ask you, I don't think that should have any bearing on, the final type of choice anyone makes. So even if they ask you, what are you bringing to the table? That's subjective. It might be in terms of, sort of background, maybe finance. Are you working? How educated are you and stuff like that? So do you take offense that a Black man would ask you that question?
No, I do not take offense that a Black man would ask me that question. The point I'm making in that is I can personally say oh, I'm an African woman, I'm Liberian, I can cook, I can clean, I bring my degree, I have my own personal business running, and they will still look at me and say that's not enough. But let Sally over there come and say, "Oh,
yeah, but hey, you see, this is what I want to, I would like to correct. You see, when you say they, let's narrow it down to whomsoever you met along the way of life, right? That maybe, just maybe they weren't meant for you. You see, and also I understand, you know, when people feel hurt or unhappy about maybe the reaction of whomsoever black guy or black man that you met, but that's not a honest, that's not a fair representation. Like, for example, you have no history with me. You don't know what my preferences. Do you get what I'm saying? You don't know how I would have reacted if I wanted to date you. I'm talking hypothetically. So to say, because you had experience with 1 or 2 or 3 black men or whatever, how many black men do you have on the face of the earth? So sometimes I've listened to a lot of black women. There's huge amount of generalization, and it's the same thing with black brothers too, right? You assume or you tend to believe that your experience with that black guy and that black guy is the same, like a sort of blanket analysis for the entirety of black men. No. Also, it's possible for a black sister to have met a white guy who was really good to her and treated her nicely. What makes you think that's a fair representation of all white men? That's a lie.
It's most definitely like fair representation. I'm not.
Yeah, but you're generalizing though. Like, oh, they. You keep saying they. That's like all black men. That's wrong.
I'm not saying all black men. I'm saying based on like a consensus of women. I have literally college like debates on this, and I'm talking with 60,000 plus students. That's not based on my own personal experience. There are millions of black women that will tell you the exact same thing I'm telling you.
Sorry, wait, hold on a second, man. Wait, hold on, Lionel. Let me ask you. You're in college. How old are you?
22.
You're 22, yeah?
Yes.
Right.
And you made an example of yourself, right? I understand there are black men out here who will literally worship a black woman, but like, I mean, you are taken.
Okay, can I get on this? Okay, I would like to say I'm not disagreeing with any of the women up here. What I want to say is I don't want to steer away from the topic of the video. The topic of the video is why are black men hurt? What I've been hearing so far for the past 30 minutes is why black women this, why black women that. And I'm not saying that black women do not have a legitimate gripe or beef with what's going on in the world. I am not saying that. I want to clear some misunderstandings that I said earlier. Some of the points that I said earlier was not to say, oh, black men have a right to do this. The things and the points I was saying goes a two-way street for both black men and black women when it comes to dating outside a black race. What I've been hearing is black women and we hurt because black men go out. Okay, the point and the topic of the video is why are black men hurt when black women go out? And I want to reiterate my points. A lot of what I've been saying boils down to what I said earlier about perception. Is that perception of, oh, if I do this, I'll have a better life. It's all about their perception. And I do agree with a few of the women that says about the media representation of black men in media. I do wholeheartedly agree with that. I do, but I'm not going to stand back and just get say and have these women say, and I don't mean that disrespectfully, but just how the words came out. I'm not going to sit back and say, oh, black women, black men do this, black men do that. No, absolutely no.
Can I say something, please, Phrankleen? Can I just jump in briefly?
Right, Jonathan, go on, brother.
Yeah, man. I'm a black guy. I'm 30 years of age. And I'm just gonna say the truth from what I see. Okay, the reason why some black guys might get upset is because I think the media, I think hip hop, I think being in your 20s, the fetishization, it hides the reality that, you know, as we get older, women want security, man, and they gravitate towards power. And as much as it hurts me to say this, I have to understand that, yeah, a lot of women will put white guys as number one. And it's not just black women. It's going to be mixed race women. It's sure as hell going to be Chinese women. And in the UK, it's going to be Indian women. And it hurts because at the end of the day, we have to look at the results and say, yes, socioeconomically, for long-term marriage and resources, unfortunately, in this society, the black guy isn't going to be the first choice. He's only going to be the second choice.
But that's perception. But that's perception, and
it's the truth, bro.
No,
hold on. Let him finish. Please let him finish. Wait. Hold on. Let him finish. Let him finish. Go on, Jonathan.
When you look at incarceration rates, when you look at home ownership, when you look at the infrastructure, the network, the nest that any black children can be raised in the West, we don't have it like, let's say, certain religious groups. I can name 2 off the top of my head, or the natives. We don't have that nest. Women want a nest. They can't build it as well as men can. That's really not what their natural role is. And as a group, you may have individual black guys, don't get me wrong, but as a group and as a collective, that nest, that safety net for flourishing offspring to survive and thrive in this society, we don't have it. That's the harsh reality.
Let me.
Okay, I would say
hold on. Let just have you finished, Jonathan?
Yeah, I'm done. Yeah.
All right, just stay right there, brother. Jerry, you wanted to say something? Go on.
Yes. Let me say something. I remembered I said something when I started this conversation. I said it is self-esteem is a big part of it. Let me tell you something. If you think that the reason, I don't think anybody should be angry about this. You shouldn't be angry because you're placing yourself in other, you're placing what you see, your perception is someone else's, is an expectation. If you think that, oh, I'm gonna get upset because the black race or black people don't have a social network, while that may be true, if you truly believe that and you get angry, I'm sorry, come on now, something must be wrong with you to believe that. And the media this, the media that. Yes, the media has played a big role. Nobody's talking about mental strength here, mental awareness. We've got to know ourselves. Why are we projecting our insecurity onto others? And also, let me say this now. Let me say this here. I believe that people should not suffer for love. If you find yourself, I made a few points when I first spoke. If you find yourself in an interracial relationship because you really love that person, then you should do your utmost best to showcase the true Africanism of yourself, of your culture. Be the best you can be. Okay, if you found somebody you love and they happen to not be black, you owe it to yourself and you owe it to your race to be the best you can be. Now, somebody made this comment a few hours ago. I do not believe that if you marry somebody outside of your race, it is a discredit to your Pan-Africanism. However, when you degrade your own race and make insensitive comments to justify your reason of going outside of your race, that is where the problem is. Again, like I said, people disagreed with me when they came here, but everything everybody has talked about here has gone down to what I said in the first place. Insecurity, your self-esteem is very, very, very important. No amount of media, no amount of somebody telling you I love you is going to change the fact that you see yourself less than someone else. It's never going to happen. It has to come from within. It has to come from us as a race.
Sir, I understand what you're saying. I appreciate what you're saying, but you have to remember that in the UK, with the media being so negative, and I'm not blaming the media.
Look,
how do children?
Wait, hold on. Let Jonathan say make that point.
How do children gain self-esteem if they grew up in poverty, they have negative image, and they come from broken homes? That's what I want you to understand. That I'm not giving an excuse. I'm just saying.
I agree with you. And I did an article. I will try and post the link on here if you permit me, frankly. I did an article on the psychology of power. In the UK, you are dealing with different factors here. When people come up from poverty, they're not just dealing with poverty within their race, they're dealing with poverty and classism as well. Some people have been made to believe that they are not worthy of achieving a certain goal because they are not elite enough. Some people do not even see themselves as being a leader.
Hold on, Jerry. I want you to address these comment on the screen that I've pinned. Remember when you started speaking, what I said earlier. Now look at this. So this person said, Jonathan is correct. Black men are in controlling resources in the USA or UK. Resources are the most significant quality to most modern women. It kind of aligns with what the brother Jonathan said earlier, right? So you see, these issue is multifaceted, but this one sticks out for me. Remember what I said to you about the pyramid, right?
Yeah.
Who created that pyramid? It's the white man. It's the control mechanism. It's a global thing. It's been around since time immemorial, before I was thought of, right? Even before my mom and dad were thought of. So what I'm saying is, it's a suppressive structure. And see, please, let me put a disclaimer out. This is not me sat here trying to put out excuses or reasons for black men not making stuff, but you also cannot ignore the structure that is in place. So if you look at this particular comment, right, this is exactly what I have been saying, right? So I can't knock people for their choices or for their preferences and all that, but there is a high number of white women, black women and or black men out there that people will tell you all sorts of nonsense. Oh, I married this person because of love. But the real internalized reasons is for social climb, career climb, to move up in ranks in the society. So like somebody was saying earlier in the comment, oh, I'm not for struggle love. Yeah. If I have to get with a white man and I feel it works for me and it will propel my life. Did you see that? It's basically the same thing with what we're looking at here. So again, that pyramid that I was talking about, that's exactly, you see, the pioneers behind it that designed that donkey years ago, they knew exactly what would do, because all of these particularly was done to destabilize the black race. We are the prime beings. We are. Life started in, Al-Kabula, Asian Kemet, Africa. All of these is designed, and it ties to the psychology, because when you're talking about media and all of this, it's generational, man. That the brother was saying, a black child grows up in a community whereby all you see, the visual representation, poverty here, dad's in prison, police arrest, there's no father figure, and less resources in that society. They gravitate towards crime, or they might decide to get out of their community and go look for something else. It's designed. It's a giant stage that we live on. We are living on or in or whatever, right? So this is what I am saying. A lot of these, because a white man, a black woman is more than likely going to see that white man as a trophy, as a springboard. A black brother, a white woman, the black man is more than likely going to be the one in that union, going to see that white woman as a springboard. That's the way the society has been designed to sabotage the mindset of black folks. Well, for those that allow their mindsets to be sabotaged. Do you understand me? And it's like, oh yeah, I have my trophy. And then we bring that trophy into our community and stick it in the faces that, hey, yo, look at me now. I'm moving up in ranks.
That is why part of the solution would be how we see what. So again, I don't want to generalize, and I don't want to limit the conversation to just one point, because it isn't really just about one point, is it? We're dealing with different factors here. Now, yes, as a race, as black people, we then have to look at what are our benchmark for choosing a partner. If your benchmark for choosing a partner is based on resources, then we've got to question that. Let me give you an example, because people are talking about experiences. I'm going to tell you my experience. I'm a born Nigerian. I grew up in Nigeria, from Delta State. If you're from Nigeria, you know it's part of the southern part. I've got my education in management. I've got my education in dietetics. And I've also got my education in international business management. when I was, because I studied in UK universities, when I dated my own Nigerians, I will tell you for a fact, this is not a generalization. This is just what I saw from the 1 or 2, 3 Nigerians I dated. When a lady would say, "Oh, are you going to go out today?" I would say, "No, I can cook. I'm a good cook. I studied dietetics." And they'll say, "Oh, a man will not fit take me out. I'm not going to be with him." That's another side of it. They tell you that as well. So when we look at choosing our partners, what are our benchmarks? If it's just for resources, we're going to choose the wrong people over and over again, because we're looking at it from what we can get out of it.
Hold on. Whoa. So you're saying a woman should go and just be with a guy for what? Have children with a guy because
I didn't say that. Hey, I didn't say that. Wait, let me finish. Let me finish my point. Let me finish my point. I said there is more to being in a relationship than just resources or security or protection. You've got to be able to communicate on that. The person who's going to be your partner, whether a white man or black man, has got to be able to understand your emotional needs.
No one's arguing that. No one's arguing that. But I'm saying you could have that and still have some resources. That's what women would want. They still want to have a bit of protection, but financial protection.
Well, isn't that what I'm saying here? That's what I just said. I said we've got to examine it. It's not just going to be about resources. We're saying the same thing, brother. Yeah.
Why can't these women have both?
Actually, you're not. Okay, Phrankleen, Crystal Studios made an excellent point. I'm trying to get in. He said that I understand the Black UK population is, yes, a little bit different than the US Black population, that you all are 3% of the population, which is egregiously low in order to get some type of financial stability, or not financial stability, but some financial power. But when people say that, oh, in the US, there's 47 million Black people in America, I do not buy the story of all Black men in America do not possess the financial aptitude to take care of a Black woman. That means that there's 22, 23 million Black men in America. That's more than the population of Ghana. That's more than the population. That 46 million Black people in America is tantamount to the population in England. You cannot tell me that there are no Black American men in America that do not possess the financial aptitude. Listen, that do not possess the financial aptitude to take care of a Black woman. That is mathematically unsure. I am unsure about that gross generalization. And also, Phrankleen, I don't mean to put you on the spot. Can I ask you, can I financially sponsor a video where I come on here and discuss you with research from Pew Research Center, from blackdemographics.com that supports my thesis, my point of view? Can I financially sponsor that? Because I'm seeing that this topic is boiling down to 2 points: financial, fiscal prowess, and this men-female responsibility. Can I financially support that?
Well, you can do that, man. You can bang me an email. We can always set up videos, live stream we can do that, man.
Can I send you a super chat right now to financially do it?
Yeah, go on.
I will. Yes, sir.
Lionel, my question is, I'm not denying there's going to be, Black American guys who have the money, resources, right? But is there enough for him to have more than one wife? Because a lot of these women have nowhere else to go. You know what I'm saying?
More than one wife. That's illegal in America.
I know, exactly. And that's what I'm trying to say. How are these unicorns, these Black guys with loads of money? I know they're out there. What about all the sisters who don't have a man? Are they going to share the guy?
Why we're
not that many around here?
Why we're not talking?
So of course they're going to date out. because the number of guys with the resources to provide to that level, most of them are not going to be black, not just because of the percentage of the population.
I
Because
disagree.
proportionally,
I
there's less of
disagree.
them.
Most of the people, frankly, you on Wirish read a few articles on the channel a few weeks ago that talks
That's right.
about the percentage of men in America, not just black men. I'm about to send you this super chat because I want to let people know that I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. The percentage of men in America that make over six figures is like 6%. Not just black men, not just black men. So, Jonathan, what you're saying is you are generalizing your points just to black men. It's all
men. Did he just say all men?
Yeah, but the
Did he just say
topic's
all
about
men?
black men, so of course he's going to talk about black men. Because you were talking like Chinese
Yeah.
men, so like if you allow the Chinese man,
Exactly.
the topic's about black men. Keep it on topic.
This
Right.
is what I said from the beginning, that if you try and overgeneralize things that really and are not really factual, because what Lionel just said is correct. Even in the UK here, how many men earn over 80 grand?
a small percentage.
A
So
small percentage.
how can people expect black men to overcome that small percentage?
You know,
Again,
Thank you,
honestly, I'm
Lionel.
gonna
Lionel, send me an email, please. All right.
Will do.
you know,
Send me an
so
email.
these
Let's set this up, man. We can
again,
get something rolling tomorrow if you're available.
again,
Right?
like I said, I frankly, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe
Yes,
the
sir.
reason why we are having this conversation is to try and find solution to these problems, not just talk
Yes.
about the problems. The solution to the problem is this: if people are getting hurt about a black woman marrying someone outside of their race, we've got to look at ourselves. We've got to deal with racial self-esteem and individual self-esteem issues. We've got to address that.
How is
And
that going to
also,
improve?
sorry,
How is that going to improve the self-esteem?
it's going to improve because then you're not going to say, I'm going to worship a white man because you feel that they are superior over a black person. Don't you
So
see
how?
that?
So yeah,
Guys,
but my question is,
guys,
how do you
hold
improve
on
the
a second. I'm gonna have to stop the show for one reason. That's, forgive me. We've been on here for 1 hour 32 minutes. Because I'm streaming via my camera and my battery is about to die. Okay, but here's the thing. Lionel, please send me an email. All right, fullchannel1960@gmail.com. We will be back here tomorrow evening UK time. I think we can do, let's say 5 p.m. All right, UK time. Lionel, please hit me up and then we'll basically unpack this. We'll be back here tomorrow and I'll be absolutely ready for more contributions. Jonathan, I love your contribution, brother. Donnie Poole, forgive me. I know I couldn't bring you on. My battery's about to die, but if you can make it tomorrow, I'd love to have your contribution. Thank you, Betty. Thank you, Natural Beauty. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you so much.
No problem. No problem, brother. Yeah.
To everyone that's contributed, and I'll most definitely be back here tomorrow. Thank you once again, and I'll catch you in the very next one. Peace and love. Bye-bye now.